Dan's a fantastic man. He really is.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome.
And good morning, everybody. It's Dan French here. It's Saturday, so this is the French Workbench Podcast. We have a full studio. Thank you guys for tuning in. We're the most real and behind-the-scenes information regarding financing, real estate, money talk entrepreneurs here in Las Vegas. And we have a great guest here today. We're going to talk to her. We're going to talk about what's happening in the real estate market. We're going to talk about builders. We're also going to talk about solar. And we had a solar guest on before. We're going to get a different perspective. We're also going to talk about what's happening in the real estate world. I'm Dan French, your host, and we're streaming live from Las Vegas. Let's go over and introduce Rick Raines. What's up, buddy? How are you?
Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Glad to be here.
Yeah, it was Mr. Rick Raines, ladies and gentlemen.
Hey.
What have you been up to? How was your turkey day, man?
Oh, man, it was the best. We went to my daughter-in-law's family. Never met them before, and it was amazing. It was off the charts good.
Really good, huh?
Really good.
So, like, when you go to like Thanksgiving and it's a new place or unfamiliar territory, what do you like? Do you have a different perception? Is like maybe it's going to be good, or do you just got to go with it, or you kind of like put your feelers out, like, hey, do they cook well?
So here's the truth. Here's the truth of the matter. One, they cooked amazing. They had 2 huge turkeys, but that's not the real story. The real story is that before we left, my wife gave me a rundown of all the things that I couldn't do. Basically, I couldn't be myself.
Like all good marriages.
This is, you need to wear this shirt, and you need to button up, and you also need to have a belt.
I had to be friendly. I couldn't talk politics, and I had to leave some food for everybody else.
Wow, Rick! I mean, you just got handcuffed, man. I mean,
because that's easier than not listening to your wife.
As you guys know who this is Mr. Brett Jenny over here. He's throwing it out. What's going on, buddy? How are you? How was your thanks?
It was good, man. Turkey, football, and then pass out drunk. No, just turkey and football.
Little herb or no herb?
Man, that turkey, I ate a shit ton of it.
So you don't do the herb then, huh? I meant like seasoning on the turkey.
Yeah.
All right.
Seasoning on the turkey.
All right. Joe Dragon, what's up, buddy? How are you?
Dan, what's going on?
Oh, man. Great. What's going on with life, man? How was your turkey day, buddy?
It was good.
Yeah. Anything new?
What do you mean?
Life?
For the turkey day?
Just
or
anything.
Like you're offended. Anything new? What do you mean?
Are you trying to say, like, you want to talk? You want to know about me? Or?
Hey, what did you hear?
There's nothing new. It's just the same old shit. But I had to be here, so.
Spoken like a true attorney. Same old shit. People suing each other.
What can you do?
Dude, what was your turkey day like, man? Did you actually eat turkey, or what did you do?
Yeah, I went to my friend's house she had a big Indian family.
Okay.
And they had a ton of food.
A big Indian family?
Yeah, so there was Indian food. That was new, but it was good.
That's cool.
And,
that's different.
Thanksgiving.
But no, then we had turkey and stuffing, and we also had Italian food.
Wow.
Okay.
Some pies.
That was a whole.
That's how attorneys do it, man. They just get a buffet. They don't go like turkey and ham and traditional. It's like, well, what type of food do you want?
World traveler in one meal.
But it made me think, though, because I think that I've usually always had Thanksgiving with my family or my wife's family.
Yeah.
And this was the second time I had it. And it reminded me, like, back in law school, my ex then, first year, she's like, oh, let's go Thanksgiving. She's like, let's go to some random friend's house. I didn't know. I'm like, let's just stay here. She's like, no, it'll be fine. Thing is, I'm a huge 49ers fan, and they were playing that night. I'm like, well, are they going to watch this game? Because that's a problem if they don't. She's like,
It's a problem if they don't.
She's like, oh, yeah. So long story short, we get there and not watching the game. So I had it on my phone. I had to go in the bathroom for like 3 hours.
Oh, God.
So,
you know what, Joe? You literally would never run into that problem in Wisconsin.
Never.
As far as
not
watching the game.
that was Washington. I definitely ran.
Yeah, you'd never.
Plus, they were making us play like these games that were like, oh, who's most likely to be whatever. Like, I don't know any of them. So they had to lesson, make sure that
who's likely to leave the party first.
Well, not every party. That party. Anyhow, I don't know how we get on that, but
all right, let's get into our special guest here. We got Michelle Mustafa.
It's not Mustafa.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay.
What?
All right,
God damn it, Dan French.
You messed it up.
I'm sorry, Mustafa.
Mustafa.
Mutafo.
But you can just call me Mufasa. Everybody calls me Mufasa.
Well, you said to call you Mufasa, so I said, okay, well, I'll go
Well,
with
you
it.
said Mustafa.
Okay. All right. I'm slap me on the hand.
Danny,
All right?
you want to dig a little bit further?
Yeah. All right. So let's talk a little bit with you. Thank you for coming on the
Thank
show.
you for having me.
So you're actually somebody that's in solar. Who's the company you work for? Is it Lifetime Solar?
It is Lifetime Solar. We're an authorized dealer for Tesla and SunPower, so that is who I'm currently working with.
Okay. Excellent.
Tesla, wait, beyond cars? They offer solar?
Well, yeah,
Yeah,
there's
roofs.
different departments.
Oh, yeah.
Even if you go on their website, there's
Yeah.
you can
It's-
order
I
a
should- I
car
should've known
or
that.
you can order the Tesla roof, which I'm not a huge fan of, but
Okay.
No? You're just selling their product, but you're not
Wait.
a fan of it?
no, but they have regular panels.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So there's like 3 different departments there.
Okay,
that you
I was a
can
little
work with.
confused. I'm like, oh, that's not the best.
Do you like your solar heavy or light or medium?
What?
3 different departments.
Oh, is that right?
Never mind.
That went over my head.
That went over. All right. In my head, it was
I
funny.
thought I
and
was
then-
ordering
and then
a big gulp or something.
In my head, it was funny,
Am
and then no
I
one laughed.
supersizing this
So-
thing or?
Next.
All right, so let's talk a little bit here about where you're at. Okay, so I'm going to say your name. It's going to be Mustafa.
Okay, sure, I'll go with that.
Mutafov. Mutafov. Okay. And so you're from Bulgaria?
So no, I'm actually born in New York, but I've been raised here in Vegas basically my whole entire life.
Okay.
My family is originally from Bulgaria.
Excellent.
So technically I am Greek and Bulgarian.
Wow.
I did the whole 23andMe thing.
Okay.
My brother, Marty, he was like, oh, let's do this. I'm like, we already know that we're Bulgarian.
Yeah.
Have you ever? Hey,
Like 1%, yeah.
I'm like, well, what's the point of this? But he ordered it as a Christmas gift
Yeah,
to
yeah.
everybody, like last year or something like that. So we were like all doing the whole swab thing or whatever.
There you go.
And then after like 2 weeks, they're okay. We're like 80. No, it was like 97% Bulgarian.
Wow.
I was like, see,
Damn.
You know what?
not
It's
much
weird
Greek.
because you get those DNA tests, and a lot of times you think you're who you are or what your parents tell you. You're completely off. It's like, wait a second.
story, though.
Is it not true? Right?
No, it's funny. So with my ex Danny, he grew up knowing that he is Jewish,
Wow.
and from his mom.
Okay.
And then he did the 23 thing with us as well back then.
He
Wow.
wasn't Jewish?
He's not Jewish.
Like, not at all?
Not at all.
Wow.
Not at all. So it turned out that his mom was adopted.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, that's.
And you would have never known that if
So
you
they-
didn't get the
they-
DNA
they
test.
practice
and
Judaism,
he's
they
like,
just
I'm
weren't-
not going to tell my mom unless she tells me something.
Yeah.
She's like, well, I found out when I was like in my 50s. I was like, oh shoot. Like,
Wow.
What was he? Swedish or something?
No, he was Bulgarian too. But I mean,
Wow.
So, Mich, have you ever been back there? Have
To
you ever
Bulgaria?
gone? Yeah.
hey, you know I go every year.
So
the
is your
audio-
fam-
the
Yeah,
audio-
really?
I go every year.
Yeah.
No, I love it.
Yeah.
What is that?
It's great.
That's Eastern Europe?
It's Eastern Europe. So there's Greece, and then Bulgaria is literally right on top of.
So you have a lot of family
Okay.
there, or still? That's
Yeah,
cool.
So,
literally
so your
everybody.
family, when did they come over as far as from Bulgaria? Do you know?
Early 90s.
Early 90s, huh?
Okay, so
Wow. So it's not, you
That's
guys.
easy to trace back.
Yeah.
I mean,
right?
it's like my family's Italian, but it's like 120 years ago. I don't know anybody. Like it's all ancient history in my mind. But that's cool that you still have,
Dude, Mike came over 1920s.
Right. I didn't even know.
Yeah.
Who cares?
So let's talk about
nobody.
Let's get into the real estate part of the show, okay? Because that's why we're here.
Oh.
Yeah, I think so, right?
Real estate?
Yeah, I think so.
What can you tell me about that?
A little bit. Let's talk a little bit about what's happening. So I see a lot of problem out there with people looking at homes that are new, and they're still being put on a waiting list. And there's a wait list. There's times like how many months supply that's out there right now. So we're
Yeah.
starting to see like how that affects the builder. We're also going to talk a little bit about other things that's going on in the market with, let's say, property management. I'm going to get an update from Brett here. So let's talk with solar and talk with you about solar here for a second and just kind of go over the situation. So we all know that solar is something that's optional. Now it's becoming more of a mainstream thing. I think with a lot of people, they're really looking at, should I buy it or shouldn't I? We had a guest on before. Now,
Okay.
when you look at solar, okay, explain to me what your company's about, how you got into your company, and we'll just kind of start with there, and then we'll talk a little bit more about should you get into buying solar.
So, I mean, I originally actually started doing real estate, flipping homes with my family. So that's how I got into the real estate point of it, right?
Sure.
And then I actually have a really good friend who he went from timeshare into the solar industry, and then he introduced me into the solar industry. And from there, I was like, well, both kind of go hand in hand because there's so much solar in the city already as it is. I'm like, it's going to help me either way, right? In the real estate market and point of view of it, and in solar, right? So that's how I started in the solar industry initially. And then
Are people like really like into considering, like, they want to know the details, the facts, the bullet points of like why they should do it, or are they already convinced by the time they get to you?
Well, so if I were to, let's say, compare, 4 years ago or 5 years ago,
Sure.
people didn't really do their due diligence and actually like looking at what they're actually getting.
I 100% agree with you.
Yes.
100%.
Like 4 or 5 years ago, it was a rep comes to your house, pretty much. They show you, let's say, a number.
Okay.
Do you like it? Yes. No. If no, buy. If you do like it and you see the point and value of it, you just sign the contract and that's it.
Yeah.
Right? But they didn't really go into depth as far as like what they're actually getting, whether they're getting, for example, a CellFab panel, or if they're getting a Q-cell panel, or if they're getting a string inverter, or if they're getting a microinverter. There's a lot of differences in equipment.
What's a microinverter?
Good question.
Microinverter. Let's talk. What is that?
So microinverter is basically an inverter that allows each panel to function individually.
I see.
So it's not like a string inverter. A string inverter is like your Christmas tree light. If one light goes out, the whole system goes out, right?
Sure.
Back in the day, they used to put devices called optimizers, but not a lot of companies actually use that. So they tell you that you have this software that you can download, let's say on your phone, for example. And I've seen several people who I just randomly bumped into, and they're like, "Oh, you do solar?" I'm like, "Yeah." And they're like, "Can you tell me what's wrong with my system, for example?" Right? And I look at their, software, and they don't have optimizers. An optimizer is basically, like I said, a device that mimics a microinverter, allowing the panel to work individually. But for the company, it's a lot more cost effective not to put the microinverter and just sell it as it is.
Wow.
Does that make sense?
What's the
And
benefit of having them work individually?
Let's say, for example, at my house, because I have solar on my house, okay? Rick knows very well I have this huge pine tree on the west side of my house, and after, let's say, 3 o'clock, half of my system is shaded, right? So if you have a microinverter, each panel works individually. If you have a string inverter, if half of your system is
So you're
shaded,
using half of it that's not working.
No. So basically, if you have a string inverter, if it's shaded, it only performs as low as its lowest performing unit. So if, let's say, if the panel in the shade is, let's say, producing 100 watts when it's shaded, even the panel in the sun is going to produce 100 watts in the sun.
Okay, that makes
matter.
sense.
Does that make sense?
Yeah,
So that doesn't affect
So it doesn't affect
because
me.
it's not being used.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
Right.
So you get more.
Yeah.
So you
More
actually,
efficient.
it's more efficient to have a microinverter on your system, which a lot of homeowners don't know.
So I got a question here.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Because I keep and I don't know anything about solar or whatever.
That's fine.
I know. By the way, it's coming down fast.
I figured you'd be an expert on solar by now.
Watch yourself, dude. Anyhow,
Don't sue me.
I keep having the same question, and it's always hard to. It's always hard to get an answer, and I just assume because it's probably a complicated answer. But here's the deal: I got a house. I've been in it 2.5 years. I'm probably going to sell it next 2 years. I want to sell it for as much as I can, and keep the power costs as low as I can in the interim. So do I get solar or not? And that's the question I usually ask people, and then they.
So it really depends. It always depends on the location of the house. That's number one. If there's too many arrays on your roof, me personally, I'm not going to give it to you. An array? So if, let's say, there's too many roof lines on your house.
Like a patio?
No. So if, let's say, if you are thinking about a house, let's say, in the Summerlin area, like the canyons, there's like a lot of like different roof shapes on the house itself.
They don't have
They
just,
don't
just
have,
like
let's
this. It's
say,
like goes
a
up
whole
here and then down
entire-
here. Yeah,
Right.
There are
Right.
different levels
There-
within the roof.
Right.
Right.
Or if, let's say, you look at
Or like
Spanish.
room. You're basically saying is there
You,
room
you,
for the
need, you
panels.
need to have room on your roof to have solar on your
So
roof.
how many panels do you need for like 2,400 square foot house?
How big?
2,400.
Depends. It really just depends. Depends if you have a pool. Depends if the way you use your electricity
What's
in the
like
house.
the higher and lower limits?
So
of that?
average system here in the valley is 7.5 kilowatt system. That is anywhere between 25 to 30 panels.
Okay.
Wow.
Those are a lot of panels. Though.
Yeah, you got to have some room.
Yeah,
So I couldn't do it on mine.
So
I
you
have the rooftop.
I mean, it depends, again, on the shape of your roof and depending on how much space you have on your roof.
And it also
Because
depends
if
which
it's all
way it's
jacket,
facing.
there's no point. If
Well,
you're
the
going to
very
put two
top's
panels,
just like a big deck.
yeah, I mean, like if you're going to put two panels on, let's say, one array of the house and then another two panels on the other array of the house and then three on the other side of the house and so forth, one, it's going to look ugly, in my opinion. Two, it's not going to be efficient enough for it to produce enough energy for you.
They need to be in succession
So-
of each other, right? When they're
Right.
laid out.
I mean, technically,
Well-
yes, but if there's too many arrays, they're on all different
Gotcha.
positions of the house.
I
You know?
gotcha.
So
Yeah,
there's
I
different
gotcha.
there's different sun exposure
Yeah, yeah.
on each angle of the house. You know, they do
Right.
say that they have the best side of the house is usually south
Right.
or west.
It's like running a car on nice, clean oil versus one that's got,
Thank you,
say,
Rick.
30,000 miles and never changed the oil. Right?
Nice-
You want it nice and clean, like
Yeah.
Nice metaphor.
all lines. Yeah, thank you. I'm not even a mechanic.
So it
I'm
always,
not either, but-
it always comes down to this, and I think you try to get it from a perspective of people out there, right? And we always say the pros and cons. So enlighten me on what would be the pros about getting solar. I mean, is there really a savings when it comes down to your power bill? Because, you know, I don't know. A lot of people probably prefer to have it, especially if you're buying a new home, just because it's
yeah.
it's easier to put on, I think, and then the builder's doing it. You know, all the legwork's done. So is there people? What is the pros besides, you know, let's say talking about buying it and saving money versus not doing it? You know what I mean? Is there people out there that go through that process mentally?
Well, it's the same thing if you're going to look at the real estate. I mean, would you rather rent or own?
That's true.
You know, that's the biggest argument.
It's a good
towards
answer.
It. Same thing with, let's say, owning a car. Would you rather lease and pay a higher fee to lease a car, or would you rather own the car?
Yeah.
You know, so same thing with this. Would you rather own your own energy, or would you rather rent your energy? Because you have absolutely no return, just paying NV Energy.
Yeah,
Not
but-
that I have anything against NV Energy, but I mean, they're
I got some against them.
does that make sense? You have absolutely.
A-holes.
It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense to
Yeah,
just
but I
rent energy.
I guess in terms of what I was like, I guess frankly, I just don't care if I rent out. I'm just about trying to get my value up when I sell it to get the other place, and that's all I really care about. It's all about dollars and cents. At the end of the
Right.
day.
And so as
So
far
is
as
it
savings,
advantageous to do it or is it not? And like it kind of seems like it breaks even a lot, so it's hard for me to figure out.
Again,
So I always
it,
go
it
back
also
and forth.
depends on the shape of your roof, right? If
Yeah.
you, if you
Well, I think
don't
I'm
have-
screwed there.
Right. So if
But somebody said I wasn't, so I don't know.
then I'd have to look at it. There's
You wanna-
no way for me to sit
You
here
can
and
pull it up on.
Yeah, we can pull it up here in a second.
pull up his roof, and I'll tell you right now if he can get it.
Well,
or not.
he's got the internet
But-
there, right?
Yeah, we do. I just got to
But
get it all
as
set
far
up
as
on it though.
saving energy, if you have a south-facing roof, you save the most energy. Also, if you have a pool in your backyard, or
I don't, but-
for example, right, just for
No, I got you.
You know, if you have a pool in your backyard, or you plan on putting a pool in your backyard, you're gonna save over $100 easily
With the
with
panels.
solar.
Yeah, so it
Yeah.
makes sense in that situation.
So I think when you sell something, you have to believe in it. Obviously, there's people that maybe
That don't believe in
that
it.
don't believe in it.
I'll
And
be
it's like-
honest with you, it doesn't matter if someone has solar or not as far as someone buying that house. Like I say, it doesn't restrict it at all.
Yeah, but do you think it'll change in the future where they want it like that? Where they it's like, hey, did your house have solar? Because if it does, I'm
here's
in.
here's the thing. 4 or 5 years ago, it was something where you would first see
It was
on
new.
it was so you'd
It
first
was
see on
new.
resales of homes, and I remember a couple of contracts we get into the deal, and it wasn't discussed or disclosed, and then the
no.
terms, and it was this whole mess, and even the
Exactly.
seller didn't know what they were signing, like
Exactly.
you were saying, and blah
Exactly.
blah. And I can tell you firsthand that within the last 4 years, it's 100% different.
Exactly.
Like he said,
So-
it's
And
explained. Everybody knows up front, and people actually, it doesn't hurt or necessarily works. I mean, people, hey, it comes with solar, awesome. But what I'm saying is that it used to kind of work against you, And now people, it's
Well, we got technology.
So- It's no big deal
advancing
now.
a lot
It's no big
in
deal
the
now.
last 5 years as well, I assume, right?
I mean,
Wait.
as far as the technology, if you're going to look at a conventional panel, it changes every few months. If you're going to look at a premium panel, it's the same thing over and over and over again because they've done their work through their company. But back to the topic that you were talking about, back 4 or 5 years ago
Yeah.
when they didn't, you're just signing.
dude, it was
there
a
and that
mess. I
it was
remember a
mess.
couple of deals almost
It
fell
was
through.
a mess.
Yeah.
And a lot of realtors here in the valley, they didn't
They shut-
understand.
yeah.
They didn't understand how to do it.
That was the thing, is
You know?
realtors didn't know how to disclose
They-
it properly.
they didn't know.
And then trying to get
Well,
the info. And now it's just you
and-
do it ahead of time.
Right, and
You know,
even
it's
now,
real simple.
Even now, I'll have colleagues from Berkshire call me, and they're like, they'll send me the contract, for example, and they'll be like, "Hey, my client wants to sell their house. Can you please explain to me what the heck they did?" And I read through it,
Yeah.
and for example, I'll see, let's say, lease or PPA, and I'm like, ugh.
Yeah. So
You know?
so is
Yeah.
it because let's be honest too, like about real estate agents. I mean, they don't benefit from it typically, right? They're not like getting a kickback or a money from getting somebody to have solar. So is this something they're really going to push? You know what I mean? Like, are they going to be like, hey, this could be beneficial? I mean, if you're a good realtor out there, maybe. But
What do you mean?
Well, like if you have solar and you got somebody that, let's say they're like, hey, should you buy a home with solar or not? Is realtors really saying you should probably buy it or you shouldn't? Because
No, people
So
say, do you like that?
regardless, I mean, sorry to cut you
No,
off.
go for it.
Regardless, if a realtor tells you yes or no, new homeowners, doesn't matter if it's a new build or a resale property, in 2 months, more than likely, 9 out of 10, they're gonna have solar on their house.
Right.
So as a
Yep.
realtor, it's probably good for you to tell them, hey,
Correct.
look into solar. Don't tell them which company because technically you can get in trouble for that.
Brett, you need to
But-
put that in your notes.
What do you mean trouble
Okay.
for what?
Because you can't. Let's say
I
let's
remember-
say I'm
You
a
can't
realtor.
steer.
I remember not
You
to
can't
advise them too
steer
correctly.
towards a certain
Oh,
company.
okay, I
Does
got
that
you.
make sense?
Yeah, yeah.
You have to give them at least, let's say, 3 different options.
Yeah.
Homeowner needs to do their due diligence
it
and
can be
actually,
a conflict of-
do it.
I just say
But
this is what I suggest. Do your homework and
Exactly right, and from 4 or 5 years ago, when people didn't do that, because back then there was
Yeah.
probably like 3 or 4 different companies here in the valley. Now there's like over
it,
20.
it was something that realtors specifically tried to stay away from.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because it was a headache and nobody knew what was signing, and then buyers got confused, and they're already confused because they're buying a house. and-
frankly, I
but
still-
it's completely 100% different now.
I frankly still get confused when they talk to me
So-
about the buyback or the lease or all these numbers.
Well, go ahead.
So
Okay, wait.
Yep.
There's a question here because we're skirting the issue.
Right.
And one of the things that you keep bringing up is that now it's not a big deal. Okay, what was the big deal back then? And why isn't
Correct.
it a big deal now?
Because number one, people are a lot more open to it.
Well,
Number two, I believe at the time, MV Energy had a campaign fighting against it.
and they still
So
are.
they still are. And number three, the most importantly, was that realtors didn't know how to disclose it at first. They didn't know the terms of it. They didn't know any of those things. So
Okay.
it's something where.
so what I heard,
and now that's completely clear.
so what I heard is,
And the process is
and
down.
maybe this isn't this way. Again, you do way more sales than I do. But if you have a lease and the lease terms are with a specific person, doesn't that interfere with the purchase? Because all of a sudden
Yes.
they've got a
So
lease,
right
and
now,
so
what
how are
you'll,
they getting
what,
around
what you'll
that?
see in a situation like that is you'll see specifically in the agent-to-agent comment section on MLS, it'll say buyer needs to also qualify for the solar lease.
Which
there was
is actually an added
there was
loan
a-
amount,
there-
yeah.
there was
It
actually one.
depends. It
there-
depends which company too.
Correct. Well, yeah, I mean,
company
it,
owns
it,
the,
it was with that company, but I remember
company owns the
my
panel?
buyer wrote an offer on it, and
There's
it
a lot
had
of
fallen
different
out of contract with the previous buyer because of that reason. Because they got accepted offer on the house, the buyer did, but they went to qualify for the solar lease
They
and
couldn't do it. So
Really?
that's another question: is are there any companies out there that you know of, Michelle, that are preventing, standing in the way, causing problems or issues for the transfer of leases from a seller to a buyer? Is there any reason for them not to want to take on somebody new?
I mean, it really just depends.
Personally, I think if that person couldn't qualify for the solar lease, I don't know how they're going to qualify for the loan.
I got a question here, though.
So if they can't if they don't have a good credit score, then they can't.
No, I
So
agree.
if
I
they
got a
do,
question here.
It also depends on your debt to income. So most
Yeah,
solar
that's true.
companies, will not approve you if it's over 50%.
Well, and I got a. So this goes to Michelle and Dan then. So if you're buying a new house, and they say you got to approve for both the mortgage and the lease, well, how much are typical leases on a start there with solar panels,
So me personally, I don't like leases.
or just the cost of
So-
solars in general?
So the cost of, if you were to combine both of them, your mortgage will probably go up maybe like $20-$30. So at that point, it's like a no-brainer if you buy
So-
a house with solar.
Yeah.
you have
So
no
why,
bill.
Dan? Why can't people get just? Hey, I need an
The,
extra
the problem too is
whatever
this
on
lien
my-
position too. Like there's a lien.
Yeah.
If they have a lien on the house, then they
Right.
sometimes take priority over that lien. So
Right.
that's why you have
So-
to bypass that and then actually have the bank approve that part of it.
So with the lien specifically, it's only with lease
Right.
options for solar. If you're doing ownership option, you have no lien on the
Right.
house. You have a lien on the equipment,
Right.
but not on the house.
Gotcha.
With a PPA option, again, there is usually 9 out of 10. There's no lien on the house.
Yeah. Yeah.
How many solar purchases are you doing that also are combining or having the storage facilities so that in the event of a blackout they're able to keep running? Do you have many of those?
So here in Las Vegas, that's kind of like I get the question a lot, right? A lot of people ask me, okay, if I get a storage unit, should I get it? Should I not? What are the benefits out of it, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of people will sit here and say, well, okay, well, if I do get solar, I want to be completely off the grid, right? And I mean, that's ideal, right? Of course. But you would have to have a storage unit in that situation. However, in Clark County and in southern Nevada, you have to be connected to the grid. So regardless if you get a storage unit or not, you still have a connectivity fee or the basic service charge that you would typically pay with NV Energy. So you're still connected to them
so they get
regardless.
It,
It's pointless.
They're getting their cut no matter what.
no
Right.
matter what.
Well, you sell it back to them though, right? If you would go over.
Right. So if you don't have a storage unit, whatever you
Kaiser's
do
right.
not use goes back into the grid and they buy it back from you and you get a credit point system on your utility. Okay.
Right.
If you have a storage unit, it gets stored in that unit. If let's say it's a 5 kilowatt system, anything excess above that 5 kilowatt goes back into the grid and you get
All right. So kilowatt. How much? Like what is that? How many days of power is a kilowatt?
depends how much you use.
Yeah, so it's usually we got a couple of questions. I want to bring this to your guys' attention. So first off, let's look at Vera's first question is how about the Tesla roof? Do you deal with Tesla roofs?
So I personally am not a fan of the Tesla roof. I've heard a lot of horror stories through that, even people here in Vegas.
Yeah.
They do look nice, don't get me wrong. If you drive, let's say, on the 215, right behind Red Rock, there's
What's the
a
major
track
issue?
So I've heard systems not working at all, right?
That could be a problem.
I mean, yeah, you're paying a lot of money for the Tesla roof, and it's actually a lot more expensive to have a Tesla roof than just a regular conventional, system.
Yeah.
The other thing, if let's say you have, let's say in my example, a lot of trees in my backyard, pine needles.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to have, someone get on your roof and clean all those pine needles off of those Tesla roof tiles.
I'm sorry to interrupt here, but I have a question. What is a Tesla roof? Sorry.
Tesla roof.
It's solar panels made by Tesla.
It's basically
Yeah,
a
but you're making
tile.
this- I got that much. But she's saying something special about it. So sorry to be.
No, you're fine.
College dropout.
Instead of your regular concrete tile that you typically would have on your roof, you would have a Tesla roof, which is basically a panel shaped in a roof.
Cosmetically.
So
please.
are
And
these?
so it looks nice.
It's shaped like a T.
So you can't tell. You can't tell it's a solar panel.
It's black.
So you can't
Your
tell
roof is
from
like black.
Okay, so it's what's the word?
Are
It
the-
looks nice.
Aesthetically.
Yeah, there you go.
Aesthetically, it looks very nice. But half the time, it doesn't work. There's some kind of issue. And
How long has the Tesla roof been out now?
probably like 2-3 years.
Okay.
So
Into
are
that.
these
So-
are these flat tiles or are they shaped like the
We have
whatever
the
the
internet.
government.
I believe
pictures.
I believe they have both options.
They have both options.
I believe so, but me personally, I don't sell those.
I know.
So, again, I've heard a lot of horror stories with them, so I
Do you have any
I just
idea-
don't go that route.
Okay, so you don't go that route. I get it. But do you have any idea what the cost difference is? Is it normally 50% more? Is it 100% more? Do you have any idea?
Probably like 20% more.
20%
So
more.
if let's say you have a 13 kilowatt system, which is approximately 45 panels, okay? If you were to compare both systems, your Tesla roof will be, let's say, $20,000 or $30,000 more.
Wow.
And here's
Yeah.
a visual for all the listeners out there.
Wow. Let me go ahead and put that on you. See. Okay.
Well,
there you
from
go.
your
I mean, we
phone,
could
you
just
can
we could use the source stand and go to the computer. But
No, we could, but we're deep in on
actually,
this.
honestly, it looks like better than a regular roof.
So let's
No,
talk
it looks
about.
really nice. Don't
Yeah.
get me wrong.
Get to that question by
Well,
Kaiser.
I'm going to ask you. So there's another question here with also if you buy a new house and get solar panels, it voids the roof warranty from the builders, correct?
That's not with every builder.
Not with every builder.
So it depends on the builder. So I know for sure Century Homes voids it. Richmond Homes voids it.
Okay.
All those other smaller companies void it. Pulte Homes, American West Homes, which is technically Pulte Homes.
So the
Leonard
roof is
Homes,
only good for a year, anyways, for the warranties. for
2
the
to
builder.
3 years. Okay, if it's that big of an issue, we're actually partnered with a roofing company, and we will offer you a 5-year warranty on
Gotcha.
the entire roof.
Cool.
Well, that's
So
cool.
it doesn't really matter whether
Yeah.
they void it or not.
So what's the last customer you dealt with that was on the fence, right? And let's say that you were like, well, you don't want to like persuade somebody,
no,
but
you put them on the roof, not the
I'm not, I mean, I'm not gonna sit there and waste my time, honestly.
It's
if
not.
you
So-
don't, if you don't
So-
want it, I'm not gonna sit here and convince you. I mean, you've already made up your mind whether you like it or not.
Yeah.
You know, if you close
I
your
hear
eyes,
what you mean by
does
that,
that make
yeah.
sense? Like
Yeah.
if you close
No,
your
totally.
eyes and think of, let's say, a forest, right?
yeah.
Okay, and it's super peaceful, and then next minute, you know, I tell you think of an elephant.
It's
And
the
then obviously you're gonna think of an elephant,
Right.
right. You already know for a split second what you want, right? So I'm not gonna sit here and persuade you
Yeah.
over an hour.
sounds like when I talk
or
with Joe about Bitcoin. You
Well,
either
that's
you
not-
either
Bitcoin's
believe in
a
it
little
or
bit
you
different.
believe in it or you
Right.
don't
Well,
believe
I
in
would
it.
say-
Same
Let's,
thing, though.
let's hold this till the end, guys.
I know.
okay?
I'm just
Let's
saying
hold
it's,
this
it's,
till the
it's
end.
the same
But I would
thing.
say
I understand
like
exactly what you're
no,
saying.
I disagree with that. Here's the point though. If I don't know,
Interesting.
if I don't know, like,
I object.
how am I supposed to make a decision though if I don't know enough about it?
Well, that's my job.
Okay.
Okay,
So I always get confused with the numbers because they're like, look at this graph, look at that graph, and it's again like if you look at my house, I say this is my
Right,
average
right.
output. Do I save money? Does my value go up?
So-
Do I need to worry about people not being qualified for solar panels
Right.
or all this other stuff? And if I am worried about that, how do I solve it with
So-
the panels?
So it again.
Sorry for the long-
Jeez, Joe.
That's like a long list of questions right there. So okay, one by one. First
still
question.
I have
Second
one
one.
question in 24 parts.
Right, in 24 parts. Okay, so say that again. So first question. Graphs and everything.
So, basically, break even. If I switch over to solar, right?
We lost Dan.
Whether I do a lease or whatever, how long before my power bill is low enough or has been low enough where I actually make money off the deal or save money off the deal?
So so again, as a rep working with the company that I work, okay, if I'm not able to save you a dime off of going solar, I'm not going to give it to you.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Are you
I'm just-
saying, but
I'm
you're
gonna
saying
tell you. I'm
immediate? Do I
I'm-
save me immediately, or are you
right,
saying
immediately. If
9
you don't
months,
see,
then
if you don't
break even?
see any kind of savings within the first year, I'm not going to give it to you at all. I'm not
Okay.
even. I'm just going to cancel the appointment. Does that
Okay.
make sense?
So you
Whereas
bas-
most reps in this industry either come
Yeah.
from timeshare, real estate like myself, or cars salespeople. Those are
Gotcha.
the 3 people that will come into
So
your
what you're
house.
saying, it
Well,
depends
they don't
on.
care.
It depends
Most
on.
of those people
Yeah.
don't care whether it's going to save you money or not. Not
Those
to
sell
kind
just
of
sell,
spit
yeah.
on
Yeah.
my own industry here, but
No, I hear you. I mean,
Joe.
that's
but does
good.
that make
Yeah.
sense?
I guess
they,
it's
they,
about
they care.
7 years.
Like I like the
Especially
attitude
timeshare.
though. It's like I'm only going to waste my time
to
on people who
break
want to
even.
hear what I have to say. If
Right.
not, next. Like I
Right.
get it.
Let's
Believe
go
me.
back to what are the challenges people have to overcome to start it? Meaning, is there some challenges or things that maybe people have a traditional way of like, oh, I think, because a lot of people, they don't know how to get started, like you said. But what are some of the stories or things that people go through with you that you have to somewhat overcome or just kind of explain the process? Where people like lack that education?
I mean, when I go in there, I pretty much explain everything from point A to Z. I tell them what they're getting. I mean, I even have this thing. I don't know if they can see it on the camera.
Oh, they can see it.
Okay, so I even have that. I bring that usually
What is that
in.
thing?
These are solar cells.
Oh, I see.
Okay,
I see.
so
That was-
conventional and whatever I usually give out, which is sun power. But I'll show this to you later. So anyways, most of the time people, like you said, they don't know what it is. They want to know if they're going to save money or not, where it's going to go, what they need to do, whether it's best to lease it, which I never go that route. I just tell them right off the bat, I'm like, I'm not gonna let you lease it, because if, let's say, you decide to sell the house in 5 years, it's gonna be a little bit tougher to sell.
Yeah.
Okay. And then I just let them know. I'm like, it's either you own it or you don't do it at all.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Don't,
So, and they don't come back and are like, okay, maybe it's just not, it doesn't save enough for me, right? Like if you give them the whole spiel, you give them the presentation, they're like, well, my savings is this much, and to me, it's not that much. So do they ever say, well...
let me ask you.
Sure.
If you are searching for a car, okay, and
Yeah.
what's your favorite car brand?
I don't know. Probably
What car do you drive?
Tesla. No,
Everybody likes Tesla cars, but no, seriously. If you were to go to a car dealership, let's say, just tell me a car brand.
just say Tesla.
But Tesla doesn't work in this situation.
Oh, okay. Doesn't work.
Because you can't negotiate with
Anyone
Tesla.
but Tesla, mother.
Yeah.
No, you can't negotiate
Let's
with
do
Tesla.
Lexus. Let's do Lexus. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
so you
Okay,
go
go.
to a Lexus dealership, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and the car that they give you, they want $500 a month for it, right?
Yep.
You're gonna negotiate, right?
I want it cheaper.
You want it cheaper, right? Okay, so you're gonna negotiate for $400. Are you gonna be happy if you save $100?
I'll be happy, but then I got to start going through my mind like, okay, is that $100 going to make or break me? Does it justify
realistically,
this?
you're gonna be happier
realistically,
saving
if they're not
happy.
gonna give it to you for $300, right? And you're
So
gonna
400 is the flat, like it's
right,
done after that.
Right. If they give
I'll
you,
probably
let's say,
go forward.
You'll probably go forward. So
Yeah.
same thing with solar. If
Yeah.
you're gonna save $100, why not do it? You're saving $100.
Just like you said, rent versus buying. That's a good analogy. Yeah.
Exactly. In 10 years from now, a lot of people in this industry are saying that our market's going to be looking like at prices in California.
Well, I think you're going to be flying in on a plane. You're just going to be blinded because there's going to be so many solar panels. You'll be like, I think we hit Vegas.
Well, right.
Swimming
right.
pools and movie stars.
And solar panels.
So if you drive on
solar
the 15,
panels.
those solar farms with that big
Yeah, I was just gonna
projector
bring that
thing,
up.
Yeah, that projector is blinding. I'll tell you that much.
It
But
also kills birds.
it does.
Does it?
It
I'm
does.
serious.
Oh,
It gets-
No,
fries
it
'em.
does. It does actually
Kill
kill
two birds with one
stone.
with one solar panel.
Hey,
Because so I don't even know why
Wait,
they have
start a
that
new
thing
gig.
up over there.
wait, I got a
But-
question. Okay.
Okay.
So national average for power consumption increase as far as your cost is about 7% per year. So your standard electricity is going up 7% per year.
Sun's going up, man.
So my question is, with more people getting into solar, are solar prices coming down the same way electronics come down every year?
Yes, actually.
So what
Competition, probably, right?
competition
With
and
competition.
just the fact that there's more people that are getting started in it. Okay, so it seems to me that, and I'm not trying to disrupt the flow here, but if you wait a little while. Do you ever have people go that, well, if you wait a little while, the prices are going to come down enough so that instead of it taking 6 to 7 years for me to break even, it's only going to take 3 or 4 years to break even. Do you ever get that
Like cell
objection?
phones.
So if I were to, let's say, again, compare 4 or 5 years ago with prices the way that solar was, you're pretty much breaking even. If you were to compare now, you are actually saving more money. Two, if you guys don't know already, there's actually tax breaks involved with solar. So it's on a tier system.
26%.
It's 26% right
Right.
now, right? It started out at 30%, but because what happened last year?
And that's
Trump
only-
actually had passed some bill at the end. in
Non-Clean
December.
Act.
What was it called? I can't even think about it. In December, he passed a bill basically and extended the tax credit to be 26% up until 2023.
Oh, 2023? Are you sure?
Yeah, 2023 is when it's going to drop down to 22%.
Got you.
Okay, and then the year after that, unless they change things, it's
supposed
going to
to
drop
end.
down to 10%,
You think
And
they would
then it's
increase
going-
it,
You would, yeah,
right? Because
no.
then it gives it's going to promote people to do it. And it's like, is that?
But that's why it was 30%.
Envy Energy's like,
for
let's keep it going.
It was 30%. It was literally 30%
Well,
tax
well,
credit
I mean-
for a couple of years.
And what she's saying, like, this can change again in the future or whatnot. It's
Right,
just-
it
Hey,
can change.
they don't like to do 30% that long because then it's like,
But they did it for like 4 years.
well,
yeah, but
okay. So let's get
you know,
into one other
I'm just
thing
saying
here.
That doesn't mean that's set in
Let me just do this
stone.
quick.
Change.
Ver, the answer to your question is yes.
What's
you,
the-
you should get solar where he's going to be building Inspirata.
Yeah.
Next. Sorry.
Okay. So
All
listen.
right, I think we solved it.
Inspirata
I
is
want to
plastered
ask
with
another
solar.
question
Yeah.
here. So listen, we kind of got a take on solar. We could sit here all day and talk about solar because we got a lot of questions.
Right.
We're not going to be able to answer. Maybe you can jump in after the show and you can maybe answer some of the questions. So if you guys have any
Okay.
comments on solar, you want to get in contact with her, we'll have all of the contact information.
Shine the sunlight somewhere else.
So I want to ask you real quick about investment properties. Your family came here and they got started on trying to buy homes from Bulgaria, and you guys now own multiple properties. And you know, for people out there that think, well, coming from another country, it's just too hard. You guys did it. So explain what you guys did and how the process works for you and your family.
Well, I mean, my mom got into it earlier when, especially in the crash in 08.
Perfect
So
time.
That's when a lot-
when
that's
She bought.
That's when a lot of people got.
that's when she
Yeah.
started.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's
She
when
would've
she started.
made a killing had you done that.
She was telling me she got one condo for like $30,000 or something.
Oh,
like
yeah.
that back then.
One
Dude,
condo for
dude, I remember-
$30,000.
Now they're like almost 200.
Dude, I remember selling a
Wow.
pool home on the east side off of East Flamingo for $55,000. $55,000, and it had a leak in the roof, and that was the only thing wrong with it.
And that was like 8 years ago, right?
It was in 2010, I think it was, so 11 years ago.
Which is
But
nothing.
yeah, it sold for $55,000, and now it's easily $450.
So,
Yeah.
so you guys went in and you bought one condo, and then you're like, wait a second, this is cheap. Like, so a lot of people, I'm not saying you did this, but they pull their money together, right? They bring a pool of money, they get investors, or let's say the family pulls
Yeah.
money together and says, you know what, let's try to make this work. Now, did you guys individually go in and strategically do it yourselves, or were you guys like, hey, we're going to do this as like a family thing?
So it was my mom. She was talking with a lot of friends back then. I was too little to understand any of that back then. I was like probably like what 15. I have no
Yeah.
idea.
Well, but you could still,
But
you
that's-
still
I was
see
still
the outcome.
Seeing it.
Yeah.
I was still
That
seeing
was
it, right?
2015.
What?
No, 2000.
In
2008.
2008. Right.
But I mean, you're looking. I'm sure you have conversations with your family. Like, okay, you bought
Yeah.
like 9 properties. What did you guys do to get there? Because you try to do that today. Good luck. I mean, you got to come in with.
Dude,
some
it was
real
an
big-
ideal time
Now
in the
it's
market.
probably a
That'll
little
never
bit
happen
tougher
again.
unless you have a lot of
Never
capital
happened
and just
international
buy it
city
out
like
all
this ever
cash.
again.
But
Not in our
back then, it
lifetime.
was a lot easier.
It's
There'll
like
be
It
other
was a lot
opportunities,
easier. It
though.
was $30,000 for one.
As far as the
darn
housing market won't
condo.
do that.
Not necessarily housing. Sorry, we're talking about
Yeah.
no. So I mean, so your family. How many properties do you own right now? Your family, would you say?
A gentleman never kisses and tells.
When somebody has to look up at the ceiling and think, that's a good sign. Right?
Multiple.
It's like, well,
I
let me
mean,
see.
the answer, multiple
we have
ones.
A few. We have
Multiple.
a few. So I mean, we have properties here in Vegas. We have properties
Wow.
in Europe. We were looking into properties out in Hawaii, but there's too many.
Really?
Wow. That, I mean, even back when the
Hawaii's
crash happened, you were looking in Hawaii, or you guys? Just
Oh
kinda-
no, we were looking
Since-
at it literally last year.
Oh wow, last year.
Yeah,
guys-
last year,
that's-
but Hawaii's a little bit different. They have the way that the properties out there work are really, really different. So
Yeah.
They do. They
yeah,
don't-
It's very different.
Point in case, because my in-laws just bought a couple houses there. This is sorry, this is crazy. When you make an offer in Hawaii, right? Like, let's say somebody makes an offer to you, right? Mm-hmm. And then the owner gets a counter, right?
Yeah.
Does the owner typically relay the counter to you? Like, let's say your agent that says, I'll list it for 500, they get an offer for 500.
The answer is
Then
yes.
Somebody comes
Yeah.
in, yeah. Hawaii, you're not allowed to do that. You cannot tell the counter offers. It's insane. Stuff like that.
I'm pretty
right?
sure it's a national
it's very
law.
different. It's
No,
different.
you
And
can't do it. It's happened
depending
twice.
on which
It,
island
like, blew
and
my
depending
mind.
which area in Hawaii, there's like,
Like, this was the
land
big island,
liens or
so-
something
yeah.
like that, and you would have to pay a fee to be a part. Let's say you buy a unit in some, let's say 10-story building, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have to pay the owner of the land basically, let's say $500 a month.
On
and it's
land
not,
lease,
it's,
yeah.
land lease.
Yeah.
And it's not,
okay.
and it's not even like an HOA. So you have your HOA plus that,
So you're
plus
and
your
then
mortgage,
and then the guy
and
who
it gets all
and then
super
the guy
expensive.
who owns the land too.
He's getting
Yeah.
Pretty much, yeah.
So
the
it's like-
family that owns
so it's
the
like a
land.
And
Is
things
it-
like
It's like
So that's like an NFT, and you keep on selling it. Every
And
time it
things
resells,
like-
you get 5%.
they have local rules
Right?
on
Every time someone,
Is it like a pyramid scheme?
it's all about
dude,
Feels
that's
like
crazy.
it.
That's crazy, man.
It feels
No,
like it.
and so we were just
Wow.
like, no, that's not going to happen.
Yeah, I know.
Well,
I'd
it's
be
all
like,
about
nah, I don't do business that way, boss.
unfortunately like Hawaii, right? Because they talk about protecting the natives and stuff, but the fact is a bunch of white rich people that are the 80% of the population that try to prevent any sort of like a lot of people coming
Development
in.
or
a lot of
something,
people
yeah.
coming in, so they have rules like those types of rules and rules that you can't
Right.
rent out a condo unless you were there 70% of the time.
Yeah.
Those
Yeah.
types of things.
They have
Yeah.
a lot
Make
of
it
rules
difficult.
and regulations.
I bet
Well,
because
listen, compared-
If you
Especially, like,
understand them
Airbnb
all,
and
though.
stuff like
Yeah.
that, it's very difficult to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
in
So
Yeah.
let's talk about.
Sorry to get off topic.
Well, that's all right.
there,
Let's
but-
talk about Vegas though, because I want to centralize our topics
I don't
and
know.
discussion about Vegas. So when you're buying a home in Vegas versus, let's say, back in the day, right? So your price range was what, 30,000 to what, 100,000? Would you say? I mean,
I mean, 150 max. Maybe.
max. Wow.
that would get you a lot of home back in the day, though. You don't understand. That gets you something
Back
Summerlin.
in 08, like during that time, yeah. And then after that, what happened with the balloon payments? And then
Yeah.
again in 2011, everything crashed down again. But I
Even
mean,
further, yeah.
So let me say this: were you strategically buying every year or further in the years as far as after
whenever
2000?
we just get the chance.
Okay, so it's just
we
whenever
get
a
the
deal
chance.
comes across.
Yeah, we're always usually just kind of looking around. We're very optimistic.
Dude,
so
Do
we
you
look
keep sorry, do you just look in the Vegas market? You look in all markets?
we look everywhere.
Yeah.
See, so like, Brett's saying you never have this opportunity, but I think what you guys are saying is there's still opportunity there. You just have to go look.
There's
So
opportunity in other
with
areas of the country, for
pandemic
sure.
Specifically, there's always an opportunity.
Yeah, let me ask you a question then, because I've had this scheme. I still think about doing it. Right, getting this close to doing it, but it might be
Getting close to doing what?
investing in some property.
He's got
Getting
three
close
other
to
questions coming behind that. So.
You're like, close
You
to
said it
doing
in a
what?
really funny way. I was like, what do you mean?
Did you talk about something I didn't hear?
No, I don't know.
That's part
The tone.
2, episode 2. No, but
TikTok challenge.
so my in-laws, they had houses in California, right, Northern California,
Okay.
Santa Rosa. It's kind of like a richer area. Big fire came through, burnt down their house. No, should I abandon the?
No.
Line
You
of
can
question?
continue. I would just never live in Northern California.
Oh, I'm not looking to live there. I'm looking to invest potentially.
You know something we don't know?
Basically, what happened is you have these fires that went through there, a whole bunch of different places, right?
Yeah.
Wiped out a lot of houses. Some houses were fully insured, some weren't, right? And so a lot of these empty lots have just been sitting there, right, ever since because they can't sell it. They've been dropping the land prices down, right? Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay.
Continuously.
I might rethink about my answer.
Right.
Yeah.
So I've been thinking like it makes sense to me that because they're in a position where they have to force because there's have to sell because there's a lot of competition with empty lots because of the fires. Why not buy them up, let it sit, build, and make a profit? Or is that something that your family kind of looks at, or no, am I way out?
This is the first time I'm hearing about it, so it's a good thing to look into, honestly.
Yeah. Well, like, is that an opportunity? Because I also
course
think
No,
I
it
also
a- it
think if I could
actually
get
is.
because I know the
So,
go
sorry to
ahead.
cut you off. So, in Northern California, specifically because of those fires, yeah, I'll agree with you. There's a lot of empty lots out there. But the other thing, if we're going to tie it again towards solar, every single new house that's built in California has to have solar on it regardless.
that's where you're coming.
Yeah.
But I was talking because Dan brought up like, what do you do to pool resource? And I tell people like with something like that, right, or something differently, what you can do is, because I know the legal side, you just set up limited liability companies or trust or whatever. You put in instructions where basically contract how to like handle these investments. It keeps fighting to a minimum because it's out of everybody's control, and you're able to pool resources. And there's certain trigger points when you sell and when you rent and when you do things like
Right.
that.
And then another thing to look into within Northern California is probably like even with the supply chain, how long is it going to actually take you to build?
That's the
you
problem
that
right
house?
now.
How long is it going to take you to build that house? And what's the likelihood of there being another fire burning your house that's not even finished down again?
That would suck.
Well, listen, I want to ask you a question. So there's been an influx of people wanting to buy or investors wanting to buy duplex and fourplexes, right? We didn't build a lot of them out here past
we don't have that many out
not
here.
many, and across the country they do. I mean, that's where the numbers are coming in. Would you guys look at that across the country? Because obviously Vegas seems like it's tapped out a little bit, or the costs for these are really at a premium. But would you guys look at those?
I would definitely look into that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so you guys pretty much are still investing. You're not going to slow down anytime soon, and you guys have a full-on investing company, right?
Right. I mean that's what we're doing.
Yeah,
that's what we're doing.
That's awesome. That's awesome. All right, guys. So let's go ahead and segue into this, and we'll talk with Michelle a little bit. You can give an intake a little bit, or your take on what we're going to talk about here with real estate, with property management. I also want to talk about new homes. So Rick, let's head over to property management. What's going on, man? How are people being able to rent right now, or is it just they're pushed out?
No, people are still able to rent. Not a problem there. The market again this week has expanded again, another almost 4%, and over this last month it's been almost 10% in the rental market. We've expanded.
So
And
what's prices at?
prices
Stay
are still
fixed?
prices are fixed. It's just that more properties are coming on the market or staying on the market because the demand is slowing down, but people are still able to afford.
So we talked about 6 months ago the worry that rental prices would keep spiking and spiking and spiking.
It's not spiking anymore.
It hasn't happened?
No,
Okay.
it's slowing down right now.
Well, that's good news, right?
so
I think that's healthy news for the entire market.
Yeah, I
honestly.
think that's really good. And the other thing that I got an article on, we had been talking about whether or not large companies were going to just start buying up whole communities and turning them into rentals. Well, I didn't realize this, but there's they track how many homes that are being specifically built for rentals, and this over the past year that's gone up 17.5% nationally.
Wow.
It's not a big figure as far as the total outlook on stuff that's being built.
so
you're
we're-
only looking at like 47,000
We're talking
single-family
about
units.
New construction built
New construction
solely for the purpose of rental.
Solely
Is
for
that
the
Blackstone
purpose.
all of them? Is that what's causing
No,
it?
this is this is just general statistics. So I'm not including all of those larger funds that are coming in.
They would be
attempting to
included
do it.
in some of the people buying them, though.
Right.
Yes, 100%.
So that shows a lot. There's a lot of investment going into
It's going into
putting
rentals.
more
There's even more
infrastructure out.
correct, and I think a lot of that it's just another indicator that a lot of the market is moving more towards rentals because of the prices.
home
Right,
affordability is,
right.
is not what it used to be, and they
No,
understand that.
And these
Yeah.
houses aren't the same size as what your typical single family residence.
Yeah.
They're going to be a lot smaller and designed more for the rental market. So
Right.
So investors are still buying homes, and you look at a lot of people that are looking to invest in this market. They're not slowing down. Is this something that's going to continue to you see in the foreseeable future, where investors are going to continue to buy even into 2022?
sure.
Got your crystal ball?
Yeah. No, I mean it's
right.
not going to change. It's not going to change. It's been that way since 2 weeks before dirt. So it's going to
does that mean?
a long time.
Look that up.
AKA long ass time.
So like if somebody's out there looking to rent, though, I mean, you look at the homes are starting to increase in inventory, and I think that kind of follows suit with let's say buying homes versus renting homes. It seems like as far as new homes to buy, existing homes, they're out there and they're expanding. So are we seeing that in the market where that's going to follow the same path as far as existing homes coming on the market? You know what I mean? Like, are we going to have the same amount of rentals coming on the market, or is it going to expand
I think the number of rentals
with the existing homes?
I think that the it's going to expand, and I think that there's still going to be a slight contraction on the number of homes that are going to be available for sale. Prices are still going to go up slightly. We've discussed this over weeks. Nothing has changed.
Yeah, because
from
if
that
you look at
standpoint.
the new homes or just existing homes, so year over year we're up 18% on home appreciation, right? And at the same time, right, on homes for sale and selling, you look at the rental market, and I think they're up year over year 15%. So it just feels like they're following right in that footsteps.
They're connected.
Right.
Yeah.
And is that going to continue?
That's going to continue.
Okay. You're not going to see any separation heading into 2022 with the amount of homes coming on the market whatsoever.
And what we discussed before back in 2008, 2009, when the housing market took its dip, the rental market took a dip right at the same time. So
Well, but-
they're tied together.
But problem again. That's all things remaining constant, but here we have a new variant that's just kind of hit the last week. Where is that going to upset things? And it's something because the market panicked yesterday because of this new variant from COVID.
Everything
So.
fell.
Yeah. So
And it did that the first time in March of 2020. Then what happened to the stock market and what happened to the housing market?
Yeah, but what I'm saying is,
Wait.
what I'm saying is those markets. He's saying
right
goes
there.
like this.
What's funny?
No. First of all,
What?
The fly.
Anyhow,
yeah.
I thought I was funny.
No, it was on your face.
So here's something.
I can't be a comedian.
I'm joking.
it's all right.
Wait, so here's something regarding that stock market. You got to understand, this is my perspective and a lot of people's perspective. All this stuff that you hear about the fact that you got a new COVID thing, or Biden went in for a colonoscopy, or
He did?
Trump had what? Or
He doesn't
Trump-
remember.
No, listen, or Trump had whatever. Those things are excuses that the media puts out. In the stock market, the people and
Totally
the
agree
companies
with
that
you on
control
Yeah,
the
sure,
stock
but-
market take advantage of it
but
in
my-
order
Same
to
thing
make
with the
money
crypto
off
market.
of
My point
it.
is simply that-
Same thing with the crypto market.
Yeah, but
They use
it has
FUD.
nothing to
It's
freaking
not
to do
actual
with
truth,
COVID.
yeah.
Yeah,
No.
I just saying.
Nothing.
My point is that's the hard part about talking about all things remaining consistent. That's what we're looking at, but the world sometimes doesn't remain consistent. That was just a real live example of that.
Yeah.
I think it's very consistent. I think that when something like that happens, the stock market takes advantage of it. And,
Well, yeah,
and the
I
peop-
understand what you're saying. The
So
point
there
was
you
just
go.
simply like, what do we have?
So do you have any stories going on with anything that's happening in the world today, as far as last week, with anybody that's looking for renting? Has anybody come in? Is there anything changed as far as people's perception about it?
Nothing has changed from that standpoint, but I did want to bring up a small story about people that are looking to move their property into the property management and be a landlord. And one of the things that I continually run up against is perceptions.
Yes.
And owners will come to me and they will say something like this: my condo is on the second floor. It's really great because I don't have to be underneath, and I don't hear anybody walking, and I don't hear all this stuff. And I go, well, that's too bad, because right now people with kids aren't going to rent your second story because they're afraid of them falling downstairs. You're not going to get senior citizens, so you just got rid of a huge part of your demographic. Or they will come and say, my house sits right across the street from a park. And so people love it because of their dogs. And I go, yeah. And there's as many people out there that don't like the homeless sleeping on the benches and so on and so
So are they
forth.
saying that in reference that they think their
Values going
rental
up.
should get more per
Correct.
month? Oh, gotcha.
Correct.
I gotcha.
And so
yeah.
I don't
Not that
care.
much of a difference, bud.
So I have people that come and say, oh, look, my condo sits right across from the
Ours are on the
pool.
first floor. I guess we just got lucky.
Yeah. Your condo sits on the first
floor.
Your condo's on the first
No
floor?
All of them are on the first floor.
You guys went in to say that, didn't you? You're like, hey, we're not going to buy this unless it's on the first floor. We want a deal,
No, I
it's
think
on the first floor.
It's just accidental, or just
That's
coincidental.
So here's another one. People will come to me and say, I got this great location. It sits right across from the pool. Well, you know how many people that don't want to listen to all that noise
Yeah.
24/7? So, it depends on who you are as far as what you think is great. But I can tell you there's as many people out there that aren't
You're
gonna
absolutely
like
right.
what it is.
If someone's like, hey, that house you want, it's right across the street from the elementary school. No thanks.
Yes. Yeah.
Every day I get to deal with kids and then
and
their
everybody
parents.
parking in front of their house.
Not that anything
and
against kids.
I
just
can't get out of my driveway.
Wait a second.
All of that
Stop.
stuff.
can't deal with it.
I don't like kids.
Anything else, Rick?
You have
I
one.
just wanted
I
to
know.
bring that up.
All right. All right, let's talk a little bit about
I like
what's
that one, I
happening
guess.
at the real estate side of it with new homes. So we all know that new homes builders would be affected by interest rates rising, right?
Yeah.
And also 2 month supplies, right? And so you look at where's that sweet spot across the country at 6.5. I know you know right now that we're still at a low month supply for new homes, right? And also
Yeah.
rates are increasing. So are builders beginning to worry or they're not? I've read that they're not because because the supply chain, right?
Yeah, I think they're in a pretty comfortable position right now.
Right.
As far as they don't feel they're stretched too far, they don't feel they're not stretched enough.
Stretched too thin. Yeah.
I mean,
You know.
I've heard both ends of it. Honestly, I've
There you
heard
go.
people. I've heard people. You know, with the new builders, let's say they have to move in. Their house is supposed to be done in November, for example, and then they are changing it to, let's say, January.
Absolutely. I have
Right.
that case right now where I was supposed to have 2 of them that were completed in October and they won't be done until January and the other one the beginning of February.
Yeah, but you know what? It's
But
a
the thing
builder's
about
market because
well, here's the thing. When you sign a contract with the new builder, you sign that they basically have up to 2 years to build your home. And that's the
Yeah.
offer that you sign with them.
Yeah.
Just so everybody knows.
But I'm saying they're not worried because in a market like we saw in the past where they
Yeah.
overbuilt, look at we still here in Las Vegas are completely different
Yeah.
from because there's over 6 months supply across the
and
country
here's the
right
thing.
now.
What would you complain about? I got in contract in April and my house won't be completed for another 2 months. In that time, my house has gone up $60,000 in value. Are you going to walk away from that? Go for it.
Well, but they got a you still have to.
I mean,
you can't walk away from
There's
it.
still
But
a lot of planning around it. Let's say if you don't.
Yeah, I'm not saying that people would,
Right,
but
right,
yeah.
right, right.
There's an inconvenience cost.
Yeah,
but-
inconvenience, but
yeah.
You
well,
know.
look at so you look at rates. We talked about that. The builder confidence index rose, so the confidence is still there for people.
Yeah.
They're still coming in and buying houses.
they're still getting
new
plenty
homes.
of permits.
Yeah, and that's the thing. And so the permits are consistently going.
Yeah.
And Vegas, it's just an outlier because we have really no month supply.
Dude, they control.
it's like one.
Yeah, they can.
and they control this.
They have
market
their pulse on the market of what's
of
happening.
this market
Yeah.
here in Vegas. That's
And
why we talk about it a
So
lot.
it's not like builders want to make less money. They're tied up with their supply chain issues.
Right.
They're tied up with everything. I mean, so to them, yeah, it's a pain because everything's delayed. But at the same point, it kind of restricts itself for they don't want to have less sales, but they can't.
Well,
What are you gonna
keeping
do?
the
I mean, the
price
pace
up
is- yeah,
because just
you're
basic
exactly right.
economics going on there, but
Pace takes care of itself.
and that kind of I got a story about that because they talk about whether you're doing contract for new build or whether you're buying a new house, whatnot. My brother actually bought a new house up in Reno. He's up in Reno, and this is kind of a good story as far as like, hey, what escrow does, what it doesn't, what you things you need to look out for, right? Anyhow, puts an offer down, goes into escrow, goes and takes an inspection. An inspector came in and said it's good to go. He happens to be an engineer, so he does his own inspection, finds this big old crack in the foundation. Right? Now you can tell he's excited about getting the
It's
house.
just settling.
What's that? Yeah.
Yeah,
So
right.
he gets on
That's
the
what the
phone.
builder said.
He gets on the phone with me. It's like, I know this is a big problem. What should I do? Whatever. And I'm like, extend it out and get like it re-inspected or whatever. And then if you want to keep it, well, then what's it going to cost to fix? Take that off the purchase price and go for that. But he's like, I got this other problem here. The point of it was he was under the impression, though, because he had insurance, which may or may not cover that, probably wouldn't, and that if there was a problem, that you could sue the seller. And I'm like, that's true, right?
yeah,
You
but
can
when
sue-
you sign that SRPD and you explain
Well,
that's hard. It's hard to overcome, right?
Most builders will have a structural warranty for up to 10 years.
Yeah, but this is past 10 years. This is 06, I think, when this thing was built.
Oh, I thought you meant he was having it built new.
yeah,
yeah.
but this
So-
is an existing
Okay.
home you're talking about, right? Not a new home.
Yeah, it's existing home.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
Okay. Sorry.
the
My bad
same
then.
sort of stuff might pop up in a new contract. Here's the point I was trying to make. I'm like, you may be right, and you have a claim against the seller for your like negligent misrepresentation, actual representation. Don't ever take that risk because it doesn't matter who's liable after the fact, right?
Yep.
It doesn't matter who owes you money back from. Assume when you make a deposit, it's gone, right?
Yep.
And assume there's a problem in the house, you're not going to get it fixed because guess what? You pay me $40,000 to sue them,
Yeah.
right? And maybe they have the money, maybe they
So
don't.
that's-
You're not going to get attorney fees, which we should be in your
Yep.
contract. But don't have that mentality
absolutely-
that I can
yeah.
just come in later. Like this is the time.
You're
to handle
absolutely
that
right.
stuff.
People
And
think that
don't-
all the time. I'm like, yeah, but you know that. So just to talk to a lawyer, it's gonna be $5,000 right off the bat.
Yeah,
And
like-
people don't do shit.
Yeah.
Then after that point.
Yeah, it's like forget what the law says or what's right or wrong, right? When you make
Yeah.
a deposit, it's gone. When you make the final purchase, assume you're stuck with whatever you got, and that insurance isn't going to bail you out, or the
Yep.
oh, the sell. Now, if you screwed up and made the mistake, hey, call me and
That's a
Or
good
just
point.
try.
I'll help you
No,
out.
you're right. Try to go about just correctly the first
I
time around
wish people
because-
would call me before stuff happens because, like,
Right.
yeah, I'm gonna charge you whatever it is, but you have no idea how expensive it is
Yeah.
if you don't take the prep time
And the builder probably has more money than you,
Yeah.
or doesn't care. They got
or
insurance.
doesn't care because they have insurance.
So we all agree that this new homes, it's kind of a perfect storm for the builder here in Las Vegas. Maybe not across the country, but it is a perfect storm because they really control the market. Even though we're seeing an influx of homes, and we'll talk about this with Brett, more existing homes are coming on the market. But I don't see that these builders are going to overbuild. Rates aren't going to really affect this, and I think the month's supply.
I think the builders are in a really good position. They're very much in control.
Yeah.
And I think as long as they feel like they're in control, they're good.
So let's talk about real estate and just things that's going on with you. So what do you see out there in the real estate market right now?
Just a few more homes on the market. I think 300 or 400 homes more this week than last week.
Okay.
But overall, that is still a third of what we probably should have on the market.
Yeah, but I mean,
So-
what is that month supply? We're at existing homes. I mean,
We're
what
at
is it,
like
2
a
months?
month. We're at not even 2 months.
Yeah.
Between a month and a half to 2 months, maybe.
So it's increasing, but it's not increasing significantly.
We
Now,
should have 4 to 6 months.
we always talk about this is the best time to buy a house here in Las Vegas, right? Because it's slower. People start to look at other things
Well,
like
bro,
family.
it depends on the price point.
Right.
I mean, if you're below 500, and it's a good house, or it's a house that has a pool. I mean, I told you I have this buyer. We've been going 2 months now at anything below 425 with a pool, and they are just getting their ass handed to them. Like we've wrote 25 offers at least.
That's insane.
And they're getting beat out by cash within multiple offers. So
Right.
if you're in that price point, I don't care where you're at in the city,
Well-
it's still because there's not much on the market.
Yeah, I got a buyer right now that's looking at investment properties. We'll talk about that.
Yeah,
It's
we
like,
talked about that.
It's
Yeah.
got a pool, needs some work,
Yeah.
and they're still like, well, I'm setting it at 295.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, it probably won't appraise if you're
It's
getting
like
a loan.
300 a square foot.
Yeah,
dude. That's
and
Summerlin
It's got
prices.
work. It needs some work. So you're looking at it probably a value of 260. Now you got to go in and
Yeah.
strategically tell them like, well, this is why I think I'm going to write the offer for this price.
Because
it's not going to appraise.
Because the seller is like all sellers.
Unrealistic.
My house is worth this. I'm seeing the market come up, and
people's mindsets still
I
think
know.
that I don't have to do anything to my house,
Yeah.
and I'm still going to get a premium. Matter of fact, I want to get above list.
yeah,
And that's unrealistic at this point. I think if you're buying a new home, and you're in competition
you know
there
what?
maybe, but
that still does exist if it's a $600,000 house that has a
Right.
pool and an acre and
Right.
it's everything else and everything on the inside. And yes, those might get multiple offers and probably over list.
Yeah.
But that's got to be the property. And we discussed this summer, there were homes that should have never sold full price that were getting multiple offers simply because there was nothing on the market. So you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like a good home in a great neighborhood that's priced right will always sell, and no matter what market, right? And always sell
Right.
top dollar. But there were ones in the neighborhood that were like the worst home in the neighborhood, and they were selling full price over list price.
I know.
So that's when you know shit's going crazy.
well, look at the end of the day, you see it out there too. Are you seeing the similar
no,
thing?
I see it
Yeah,
everywhere. I
yeah.
see it every day.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Like, to me, I guess if you feel like your house is worth that, I guess you can think that you can do it. But if your house is sitting on the market 25, 30 days.
Why? I mean, I always
You gotta
I
start
always-
thinking,
You have
like,
to start
okay.
thinking that something's wrong.
Something's wrong, right?
But I mean, even right now with the holidays, around the holidays, in my opinion, I mean, everybody has their own opinion. Don't list your house. Wait till after
Yeah.
the holidays.
Yeah, but isn't it the best time to buy right now? So, like, if you're buying a house
it's the flip.
or selling, I wouldn't say selling a house is
Depending.
the best.
Depending.
But buying, yeah.
Depending.
I just
Go
told you
ahead.
my buyer's
Depending.
getting their ass handed to them. But
Yeah.
if you go at 6, 7, 800, then yes, they probably would have the pick of the litter,
Right.
Or at least more choices.
Right.
Okay, let's talk about crypto because I want you to talk about
Oh.
it. So let's go ahead. I want Brett. Here we go. Ding, ding, ding,
I'll
ding,
put up
ding.
my defense wall.
Brett Ginny versus Joe Dragon, round 1.
Ready? Let's get ready to crypto.
What's going on in crypto, buddy?
You know, man, market's crazy right now. Not crazy, but it's man, this thing will go up 25%. You'll be up $2,000 in like 2 hours, being like, shit, I didn't even really earn that money, and then spend the next 4 days depleting that $2,000 you made because they nickel and dime.
Well, listen, somebody had an interesting point. Everybody wants to invest their money, and I don't think everybody knows the exact place
Yeah.
to invest. They're just hey, you know what, this is working for others, and if you hold on to something long enough, you'll probably make some money.
Right.
Now, a lot of people, what they do, or I've talked to a few people, that they take a certain amount of money every paycheck and invest just a little bit and slowly build it over
So
time.
that's what I'm starting to do right now is I teamed up with a guy who has a program where every time I get my commissions for real estate, I'll have 15% of it that will go directly into my crypto fund. So it's just like I'm basically getting paid.
There's different ways to
I'm
go
getting,
around it.
15%
Yeah.
of my salary will be getting paid in Litecoin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How you like that, Dad? Because I know he's watching.
So
right now
Joe,
on YouTube.
you got a left hook coming or what? What do you say about
crypto?
crypto? Yeah. What do you guys? What do you say?
know, it's-
Would you invest into crypto for maybe $300 or $400 a paycheck?
Yeah, you want to ride the bubble.
Ride
But
the
pull out
bu-
before it pops. See, that's the different view
So
between
when do you
guys.
think that's going to pop?
Next
Like,
year.
what is your thought process on this?
How many?
Here's the way I would look at it. So assess it in a risk reward situation, like you would anything else in life. Say you have $1,000. Worst case scenario at $1,000 is completely thrown down the toilet, completely worthless. But best case scenario, that $1,000 in 5 years has made you $300,000,
Yeah.
$500. Because I could give you multiple scenarios with people who bought a coin at 5 cents and now it's $45.
I
yeah.
And they bought $1,000 at the time, and that shit's worth like $1 million.
I totally agree with you, and I'm not saying.
You know?
I'm not saying. I own crypto, not a ton of it, but I own.
Yeah,
crypto, right.
Just hold on. I
Right.
mean, that's the thing, dude.
Because
Everybody
guess
knows
what?
what's going to happen with the market is in this and that. It's turned the corner.
I am,
and it's institutional money now. And as long as you hold on to it, dude, you're good.
And
basically.
I'm obviously extremely intelligent, but every once in a while,
Well, that's
I just get something wrong.
Hey, listen. Just ask Joe. Joe, are you intelligent? Extremely.
Just a little bit.
Okay.
Extremely,
Okay.
yeah. You know, but when I am in Ron, I like to have insurance, and like I was wrong, but I'm rolling in money with Brett, and now he's not living in Summerlin without me.
Just do this, Joe.
But if you want to talk about why I think long term it's not a good investment, there's reasons for that as far as
Sure.
that goes. How many people own crypto? What's that? 5%?
Probably
Is
more
Is
now.
it only 5%?
About
So,
5%, 5 to 10%.
Here's the
yeah.
question I have.
That's
the,
it.
The owner of Litecoin, I just want you to bring this up. He
There's
recently,
no owner.
Not the owner,
The
but
creator.
The creator.
Okay.
He started. Okay, listen. The
decentralized.
creator. Okay. He got out and he sold all of it. Why is that?
He did that in 2017.
But why did he
So
do
you
that?
can look at that as two ways. He did that. Well, the reason. So I'll give you the reason why he stated. Now there's people who believe that, and there's people who don't believe that. So that's up to you. The reason he stated was to have a true decentralized coin. He wanted to have no association with it. He wanted to work strictly just for the benefit of promoting Litecoin and what it can do for the world. And he felt that if he had his money involved in it, that would steer him with certain decisions, or at least with certain creations of contributing to the program of it.
Sure.
So that was the reason that he used in 2017. Now, no doubt, he created Litecoin, so he got all of his stuff for free, and he sold it when it was like $340. And
which is very smart.
and but
That was
here's the thing.
at its peak, though, right?
Yeah, so people criticized him because if you look at the next 2 years after that happened, it went all the way down to like $25. And people were like, well, he knew that's his way of knowing that it's reached its bullshit height because it sold the blah, 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 and all those things. So, you can say, hey, he wanted to do it because he truly wanted to have complete disassociation from the price and the market of it, or
Sure.
because he was trying to take advantage of it.
Well,
Maybe a little bit of both.
Hold on. Rick's got a question.
But
Go
wait
ahead.
a second. That's to me. That's the opposite of what you were saying before. That it takes the community in order to make the price rise and or to stay.
Sure.
So one
Which is
person.
why I think it's never
so
gonna work.
one person.
That's why he didn't want to have he didn't want
So,
to.
my point being is that all of these people that are pointing the finger at him, they're part of this community. Why aren't
Absolutely.
they trying to build it up and make it?
It's not the community of Litecoin. It's the haters of the Litecoin community.
But hold
if you
on
know
a
anything
second.
about crypto Twitter, dude, there's like
I've got a problem with that.
It's
gangs and
insane.
cliques. It's just
I
like
know.
high school, dude.
I know.
what's
No,
your-
that coin. It's always fake because they always
Well,
argue
what's-
that coin's shit. This coin doesn't do
Wait,
anything.
wait, wait.
It's
What's your point on this,
Rick
Joe?
just hit it on the nose. I don't know if he realized he did it. Like the Litecoin guy selling, and the idea the community needs to come together,
Charlie Lee.
whatever his name is, come together, and that way we'll make it work. That's not how stuff works, dude. Things create value and skyrocket because you go to it without the idea of a community. helping
Well,
somebody
I mean,
else.
if you want to look,
if you want to put this collaborative effort, that's never going
Well,
to
here's
work.
the here's
It
the
needs to
problem,
become
Joe.
better
You're
than
look-
actual
you're-
currency.
Here's the problem. You're looking at an area where a lot of people have an interest in it, but very few people know the technicals of it. So
No, I understand. If it-
knowing the technicals of what actually works and is really good,
But if it becomes what you
is different a lot of times from the popularity or how other ones are marketed.
But
better.
if it becomes what you think it's going to become, I'm going to be forced onto it. I'm not going to have a choice. It's just going to be as simple as forced to
are you
drive
saying
a car,
that,
forced to like.
Are you
use
saying that there's going to start out with a bunch of them and then the top ones will rise and survive?
Well, your
Yes, absolutely.
your idea is eventually there's going to be some sort of world currency, right?
Correct for Bitcoin, yes, but
That I have to
there'll
use.
They'll be that will be the backing of everything. Just like gold, like banks are backed by gold, or
No,
currencies
they're
are
not.
backed by gold, or they should have been, or they were
They
for
haven't been
thousands.
Well,
of
let me
years.
say this though. Do you
Which
think
is
there's-
that brings me to cryptocurrency.
But there's
So
a
thank you
reason
for
they
making my
stopped
point.
backing them with gold. There was
Yeah,
there was
because
a
so they could
fundamental
manipulate
reason where
it.
they
So they could manipulate
Yeah,
the
so
money.
we don't have 40 years of depression. That was like
So
we
they
don't
can
want we don't want
Keynesian
40 years-
theory manipulating money.
Do you
there
know
we
how-
go again.
but if
Thank you
they-
for making my case.
Sick 'em, sick 'em.
But-
Get 'em, get 'em.
So
I mean,
All right,
Ding,
all right, all
ding,
right.
you just
ding,
proved my
ding.
point, dude.
Round one's
Ding,
over.
ding, ding.
Round one's over.
Manipulation.
All right, so
back-
listen.
back to your corners.
You guys have anything else to say? We got to end the show. It's already hour and 15 in.
Oh, it's
Rick,
a good
you got-
time, man. We're just having fun.
No, I know.
I'm going to kill you, Brett.
Oh my god! Give me a 1 minute head start so he doesn't.
You got anything to say over here?
Have a great weekend.
I hope everyone had a happy goddamn Thanksgiving.
And I agree.
I concur.
I concur.
What do you got to say over here, Brett?
Man, good times. You know.
All right.
Yep.
Our guest, Michelle, how did you enjoy your show here today?
It
Or
was
did you enjoy being here?
amazing. It
Yeah.
was amazing. I actually want to come again.
Did you really? Was it fun? I
Can
mean,
you
was it
repeat?
cool?
Can you repeat that?
Oh yeah, no, I
That's
got
what
that joke, but no, really, I enjoyed it. I'd love to be a guest again.
Yeah. How does somebody get a hold of you
Totally.
if they want some solar going
So
on?
if anybody listening, best way to reach out to me is give me a call. My number is 702-324-6449. Other than that, if
You got a
want-
website?
We have a website.
Okay,
but,
doesn't get to
but
you.
don't go on the website.
Okay.
And put your name in there because they're gonna charge you $1.
Oh wow! Make that money,
So if you want a cheaper system, just call me directly.
right? What about you, Joe? Well, listen, I just want to say one other thing though. So, you're not a realtor, are you?
No, I have my real estate.
Okay. So you can and you understand what's going on in the market. So obviously this is a good market to still buy, correct? Your
Yeah.
thoughts?
Yeah. No,
Okay.
it's. So I mean, it's still going to be going up regardless. Next year, it's probably going to go up even a little bit more, in my
Yeah.
opinion.
I agree.
I don't see it dropping anytime soon.
Okay.
If there is some kind of drop, it's not going to be anything drastic.
Michelle, thank you so much. Joe, what do you got to say, buddy? Anything left?
Oh, happy. Well, no, we're past Thanksgiving.
Happy Hanukkah.
What did you smoke?
Yeah.
Happy 4th of July. Where's my scotch?
No, what did you want me to say? Oh, sign offs. Yeah. So if you need any help,
I don't know the right date. No.
yeah, like
We're
I
in December, right?
Almost.
No,
Wait.
yeah, November.
Wait.
I wasn't let it go.
How does somebody-
DragonLawGroup.com.
There
If you need
you
help
go.
with anything, we're set all the things we talk about, but a lot more. And I don't charge $1 to send me.
I mean, if you do want to
Yes,
go on
hey.
our website, it is sunpower.com or Lifetime. Just look it up. You'll see.
Oh yeah.
You'll look it up. But if you want to reach out to me, again, just reach me out by phone.
All right, guys, this is Dan French, the French Workbench Podcast. Please subscribe to the channel, hit the like button. We'll have a lot of good information coming up on Tuesday. Appreciate your guys' support. Let's get us to 1,000. We'll see you guys on Tuesday.
Hoorah.